Welcome, everyone, to the She Found Motherhood podcast. Today, we are going to answer a question on a topic we are so passionate about and something that we think can make or break your childbirth experience. Can you guess? The question we're going to answer today is, how do I choose a childbirth education class? In today's episode, we're going to discuss how to choose a prenatal class that is right for you, when to start and finish your prenatal class, and what other classes expectant parents should think about taking. We'll get to it right after this quick reminder.
Welcome to the She Found Motherhood podcast. We are doctors Sarah and Alicia, maternity physicians and moms who have been through it all. We want to empower you with knowledge so you can have the best pregnancy, birth, and postpartum experience you can.
She Found Health and She Found Motherhood is meant for general medical information only. The content of this podcast is not intended to be a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. This information does not apply to every situation. If you have questions or if you've received different advice, please contact your healthcare provider. Always seek the advice of your physician or another qualified health provider with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition. The views expressed by She Found Health and She Found Motherhood and our guests are not representative of any of the institutions with which we are affiliated. Some of our podcast episodes are sponsored so that we can keep getting great info out there to you, our listeners. We only partner with companies that we truly believe in. Some of our links and suggestions may be affiliates, and we would appreciate you using them to help fund this important work. Now let's get to it.
All right, Sarah, how often do you get asked this question?
Not as often as I thought, but I also ask my patients what their plans are, so maybe I just preempt their questions. But here are the three main things you want to think about when you're choosing your childbirth education class. The first one is the general philosophy of the instructor teaching the course around birth. This is really important. If your instructor's values and thoughts around childbirth education are not aligned with yours, you're just not going to jive. This will feel uncomfortable and you'll not be engaged, and you won't get out of it what you need to. For example, if you're hoping for an elective cesarean section for your birth, which is absolutely your right, and your childbirth education class is focused entirely on natural birth, then this is not going to meet your needs. You'll be better off choosing a course that reviews cesarean sections, recovery, and focuses on the postpartum period and newborn care.
And can I just say that when Sarah was saying natural birth, she was making quotation marks that none of you could see.
No, I was.
All birth is natural, people.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, so the second point we want to talk about is logistics. So it used to be that all courses were held in person. Some were 2 weekend days, others were multiple evenings over a 6 to 8 week period. But now there are so many more options. There are live online prenatal courses like the one that we're holding April 30th, 2022. So make sure to check out our website for our next course coming up. If you're listening to this after, or if you want to sign up for that one-day live online course, go to our website and sign up for it, www.shefoundhealth.ca. There are also pre-recorded childbirth education courses that you can watch at your own pace when you want to watch it, and you can watch it again and again, even in the delivery room if you want. So the question is, how do you learn best? Do you need frequent breaks? Do you like the social camaraderie of having others around you? Are you more of an introverted person? Do you and your partner or support person work different hours, and a live online or in-person course might be hard to fit into your life? If that sounds like you, then check out our prenatal course on our website linked in the show notes. If you're in Victoria, BC and looking for an in-person course, then send us an email and we're happy to give you some recommendations around that.
The last thing is the curriculum. It is so important to make sure that your prenatal course is well-rounded, and it needs to cover both vaginal births, but also assisted vaginal birth and cesarean section. Many of us hope to have the birth we always dreamed of, whatever that is for you. But for many reasons, sometimes this just doesn't happen. And being prepared for other alternatives can really help you during the time to understand what is going on and feel like you have a bit more control over the situation. We believe this can decrease the risk of birth trauma as you're prepared for alternate situations. You've recognized that they might happen to you, and you're familiar with some of the important information you might need to know about. Other important topics to make sure are covered is what to expect if you or baby needs a little more support right after birth. And there should be a strong portion on what happens in the postpartum period for you, your partner, and a decent amount of information about caring for a newborn baby. There's a lot of stuff that we just realize we don't know.
So now that you know what to look for in a prenatal class, how do you find a childbirth education class in your community? The best way to do this is to ask a trusted source for recommendations. Ask your care provider or a friend that has given birth recently. A really great question to ask your friend is, did you feel prepared by your prenatal course? Is there anything that you weren't prepared for? Would you take the same course again if you were to do it again? You also want to talk to people's partners. They need to be prepared as well, as they're often advocating for you on your behalf. And it is very important that they feel informed and involved, and that the course has stimulated conversation on different topics between the two of you. We've actually created a free birth preferences course if you're interested in just starting to have those conversations. And regardless of the childbirth education course you choose to take, this can be really valuable in creating your quote unquote birth plan. So we'll link that in the show notes below if you're interested in taking that free online course.
Hey Sarah, do you know what I've never asked you? Did you take a prenatal course when you were pregnant?
We did. Even though I'm a maternity care provider, my husband and I thought it would be an important process for us to go through together.
That's so cute. It must have been so hard for you guys to coordinate your busy schedules, though.
Oh, tell me about it. I was a medical resident at the time, and he was working full-time. We really struggled to find a course that would fit our needs and ended up doing a semi-private course that still was challenging to schedule and quite expensive.
Wouldn't it have been nice for you guys to have access to an online course with evidence-based content that you could do from the comfort of your own home or on your own time at your own pace?
You're telling me if I had had access to something like our Pregnancy to Parenthood prenatal masterclass, it would have been a game changer.
And that's the big reason we put this course together, to provide parents with access to a reliable, comprehensive prenatal education from the comfort of their own homes and the ability to watch it and rewatch it when and where they choose.
Plus, it's got so much great information about preparing for the fourth trimester, which I'll admit, I felt really unprepared for. We focus so much on labor and birth when we're pregnant without understanding how challenging breastfeeding in the fourth trimester can be.
I hear ya. And that's why we put together such a comprehensive module all about what to expect for the fourth trimester and for your newborn.
If any of you listeners are pregnant and thinking about a prenatal course, I may be biased, but I would 100% recommend our online course. Head on over to www.SheFoundHealth.ca/masterclass to check it out.
We promise you won't be disappointed or your money back.
So there's also a lot of local parenting groups on social media. So check in with the members of those groups to see if they have any recommendations or have any advice for you. But also remember, you don't know these people or their values around childbirth. So make sure you always take recommendations with a grain of salt and look into it yourself. This is why usually it's better to talk to a trusted friend or a trusted source who holds similar values around birth as you do.
So, after we discuss how to find a good prenatal education class, people want to know when to take the class. Now, this depends on the type of class you've decided to take. If you're taking a live class that you cannot rewatch, it's best to time it so you're done by about 34 to 36 weeks of pregnancy. If you take it too early, you're liable to forget some important information, and if you wait too late, you may go into labor before completing the course. If you're taking a pre-recorded course that is self-paced, like ours, check to see how long you have to access it. For instance, you have access to our course for up to 2 years, so you can always rewatch components again if you forget or if something comes up in your pregnancy that makes that section a bit more relevant to you. This is particularly important in that early newborn phase, when you're actually running on little sleep and your memory may not be firing on all cylinders. Heck, we've actually had people watch our course in the delivery room. The final question we'll answer today is, what if I've already had a baby? Should I take another prenatal course? This is entirely up to you. Just like no two pregnancies are the same. Take it from me, no two birth experiences are the same. Generally, your second delivery is quite different than your first. And I'm laughing because my second delivery was more like a first delivery.
And mine was an emergency C-section after a normal vaginal delivery.
Exactly. So honestly, guys, a refresher might not be the worst idea. Certainly, if you're trying for a vaginal birth after cesarean, it's probably worth retaking a course. We gave our course a 2-year expiry. So if you're pregnant before that 2 years is up, you can rewatch it as a quick refresher.
So we're going to chat about one more thing before we finish up this podcast, and that is, what other courses do we recommend expecting parents take? There is one that we highly recommend, and a couple others you may find useful. So the one that we really highly recommend is taking an infant first aid course. Luckily, bad things often don't happen, but we never know when they are going to. So if you take an infant first aid course, you can be prepared for the small chance that something bad does happen to your baby and you can intervene and hopefully help improve the course. So there's a great online course by Holly Choi at Safe Beginnings that will link in the show notes, and you get 20% off with the code SHEFOUNDHEALTH. They also have a really great car seat safety course if you're trying to figure out what car seat is the right one for you to buy.
Oh my gosh. And I'm just going to say, car seats can be so overwhelming. Honestly, you guys, and it's really scary. What was the percentage? Like
80%.
of car seats are not installed properly. So if you're going to invest in something, I would invest in learning about your car seat.
Those are a couple of the courses that we highly recommend. You can find them both at the Safe Beginnings website. And again, either of those, you get 20% off with our code SHEFOUNDHEALTH.
Another great course that I think, honestly, Alicia and I would have taken if we had known the importance of pelvic floor health is some pelvic physiotherapy health. And Melissa from Mummy Berries has a really great comprehensive series of online prenatal courses that just help you prepare for birth and postpartum and what to expect. If you head to her website, mummyberries.com, she's got a few different options and we'll link them in the show notes below. If you use the links in the show notes, you actually get 15% off of her courses.
So there you have it. A little bit about what to look for in a prenatal course, how to choose one, and what other courses we think are really valuable to take, both for your infant and for yourself to prepare for that pregnancy and postpartum. We hope this has been helpful. Again, go check out our website, www.shefoundhealth.ca, because we have both an online self-paced course and an online live offering. So if you're interested in either of those options, check them out.
Thanks for listening. Make sure to check out our website at www.shefoundhealth.ca and to sign up for our community for weekly bump blasts. Make sure to check us out on Instagram or Facebook at she.found.motherhood and head on over to your favorite podcast app and leave a review and a 5-star rating. If you enjoyed this podcast, take a pic of yourself listening to it and share it on social. Make sure to tag us on it so we know to keep making them.